Hey everyone, and welcome to our deep dive into the world of personal finance and investment apps. It's a jungle out there,
It really is. So many options.
and we're going to explore them all, see what they offer, help you figure out which one, or honestly, probably which ones,
Right.
could be your perfect financial sidekicks.
Yeah. And we'll look at, the good and the bad. Every app has its pros and cons. We'll unpack it all.
Exactly. So, I was doing a little research for this, and it's wild how some of these apps will invest your spare change,
Oh, yeah.
like effortlessly, almost like magic.
Well, that's kind of the whole point of technology, like
Yeah.
automating stuff that we might forget about
Right.
or just helping us see our financial goals a bit more clearly.
Totally. Speaking of which, let's start with budgeting apps.
Okay.
Because who actually enjoys, like, staring at spreadsheets?
Not me. Spreadsheets are the worst. Thank goodness for apps like Mint.
Yeah, Mint. Free.
Yay.
Connects to all your accounts. You see your spending in real time. I mean, that's got to be a
Yeah.
huge time saver.
Huge. And it categorizes your transactions automatically, so no more like manually logging every single thing. But I'm curious,
Yeah.
what do you think about the ads and the kind of basic investment tracking you get in the free version?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, ads can be annoying. And if you're, like, seriously tracking investments, Mint's free features might not cut it.
Right.
But if you're just starting out, trying to get a grip on your spending habits, Mint spending alerts, those are pretty cool.
Oh, yeah. It's like having a little buddy who taps you on the shoulder and is like, hey, maybe don't buy that fifth latte this week.
Exactly. Okay, so now let's talk about YNAB. You need a budget,
Mm.
not free this time,
Mm-hmm.
but it seems to take a much more intentional approach, I guess.
It does. YMA is all about giving every dollar a job.
That's a pretty cool concept.
It is, right? Like before you spend anything, you decide where that money's going. It helps people be a lot more mindful, I think.
I see. So it's not just about recording what you've already spent, but like planning ahead and making sure your money's actually
Going where you want it to.
working for you. That makes a lot of sense. I mean, does it actually work?
Oh, yeah. YMA users, new ones, they save something like $6,000 on average
Wow.
in their first year. That's pretty impressive.
It is. But I think you mentioned it has a bit of a learning curve.
Yeah. It definitely takes more effort than something like Mint. You've got to really commit to it. It's not for everyone. But if you really want to take control of your finances, YMB can be pretty powerful.
I can see that. All right, so we've tackled budgeting. Let's move on to saving and investing apps.
Okay.
So many to choose from.
Right.
It can
Mhm.
be overwhelming. Where do we even start?
Well, for people who are new to investing, maybe a little intimidated by it all, there's Acorns.
Oh, yeah, Acorns. That's
Yeah.
the one that, like, invests your spare change, right?
Exactly. So say you buy a coffee for $3.50, Acorns rounds it up to $4 and invests that extra 50 cents.
That's pretty cool. But, like, does that really add up to anything?
It can, especially over time. You've got the power of compounding working for you.
Compounding.
It's like earning interest on your interest. Your investments grow, they generate more earnings, those get reinvested, and it just kind of snowballs.
So even starting small can make a difference.
Huge difference. And Acorns has recurring investments too. So you can automatically invest, a set amount every week or month.
So then forget it.
Exactly. They also have retirement accounts, so Acorns can grow with you as your financial goals change. One thing to keep in mind, though,
Yeah.
their fees are low overall, but they can be a bit higher percentage-wise if you have a really small balance. Just something to be aware of.
Always good to understand those fees, for sure. Okay, so Acorns is great for, like, effortless investing. But what if you want to be more hands-on?
Well, then there's Robinhood. No commission fees, super user-friendly. You can start investing with just $1.
$1. That's like the price of a candy bar.
I know, right? Makes it really accessible. But there's been some debate, let's say, about their approach.
What do you mean?
Some folks say it's a bit too gamified, like the interface makes investing feel like a game,
Oh.
which could lead to, riskier behavior, especially for newbies. So it's awesome that it's easy to start, but you got to do your research.
Don't just get caught up in the hype.
Exactly. And another thing, Robinhood doesn't have mutual funds or bonds, so you're a little limited in terms of diversification.
That's a good point. Diversification is key for managing a risk, right?
Yes, absolutely. Now, for people who want more options, a more robust platform, there's always Fidelity and Charles Schwab.
Those are the big names. I mean, they've been around forever, so they must be doing something, right?
Right. So Fidelity is known for their research tools, and they have fantastic customer support.
So if you really like to, dig deep into a company before you invest, Fidelity is the way to go.
Could be. Now, Schwab, they usually get praised for their low fees
Oh, nice.
and their educational resources. So they're good for both, DIY investors and people who want more guidance.
So Schwab's got options. Cool. Okay, we've covered budgeting, saving, and investing. What about debt management?
Oh, yeah, that's a big one. There's Tally, for example. It helps you consolidate your credit card debt
Consolidate.
into a single line of credit with a lower interest rate.
Yeah.
Makes payments simpler and could save you some money.
Sounds pretty useful.
Yeah.
Any downsides?
Well, you have to have good credit to use Tally,
Oh,
which kind of defeats the purpose for a lot of people who need help with debt.
that's a really good point. I hope we see more inclusive solutions in the future.
Me too. Now, another app that's super helpful, regardless of your debt situation, is Credit Karma.
Oh yeah, Credit Karma is great. I use it myself. Free credit monitoring.
Exactly.
And they give you like personalized recommendations on how to improve your score.
It's like having a little credit coach in your pocket.
Right. Okay, so we've covered a lot. Budgeting, saving, investing, debt management. It's amazing how many apps are out there for like every financial need.
It really is. And, there's one area we haven't touched on yet, which is managing money across borders for people who travel, work abroad, or deal with different currencies.
Oh, right. Are there apps for that?
Totally. Revolut's a good one. Multi-currency accounts, budgeting tools, even stock trading. Kind of a one-stop shop.
Wow, that's impressive. Any catches?
Well, some features might be restricted in certain countries, and they have fees for premium accounts.
Gotcha. So always do your research.
Always. Now, another option for international money stuff is Wise, which used to be called TransferWise.
Oh, yeah, I've heard of them. They do international money transfers, right?
They're the pros. Low-cost transfers and currency conversions. So if you're, say, working remotely from another country and need to get paid in U.S. dollars,
Yeah.
Wise can handle that for you.
Pretty cool. Okay, so we've really explored the gamut here from basic budgeting to like handling international finances. It's amazing what technology can do.
Right. And there's something I think people often forget in all of this.
What's that?
Financial education. Having the tools is great,
Yeah,
but you got to know how to use them.
true. You wouldn't get behind the wheel of a car without like learning to drive it first. Right.
Exactly. So if you want to boost your financial literacy, there's Khan Academy. Tons of resources there, free or super low-cost courses.
I love Khan Academy. Great for like learning at your own pace. Anything else?
Coursera is another good one. They work with universities and organizations all over the world,
Oh,
offering tons of courses, including personal finance and investing.
awesome. So whether you're just starting out or you're looking to like level up your financial knowledge, there are tons of resources out there.
Absolutely. And investing in your financial education, that's one of the best things you can do for yourself.
I think you're right. Okay, so that's a wrap on part 1 of our deep dive. We've covered a lot of ground,
We have.
from budgeting basics to some pretty sophisticated platforms. It's clear that there's a tool out there for everyone. But stay tuned for part 2, where we'll get into specific financial goals and strategies.
Yes. We'll talk about how these apps can help you reach those goals, and we'll share some tips for staying on track.
Sounds good. So until next time, keep exploring, keep learning, and stay empowered.
Welcome back, everybody. Ready for round 2 of our deep dive.
Let's do it. So we've talked about a bunch of different apps, but I want to shift gears a bit and focus on specific financial goals, like the big ones.
Okay, yeah, like buying a house
Oh,
or planning for retirement.
right.
Those are usually the big ones, and those require like a whole other level of planning and strategy.
Totally. And it can feel, honestly, kind of overwhelming. Like, can these apps actually help us with those big long-term goals?
Oh, for sure. Some of the ones we've already talked about can be super helpful. Remember Personal Capital with the retirement planner?
Yeah.
That's like a crystal ball for your finances. It shows you how different saving and investing scenarios could play out.
It's wild. Like, you can actually see how much you need to save and what kind of returns you might get. That's got to be motivating.
It is. And then for people saving for a down payment on a house, budgeting apps like Mint or YNAB, those can be game changers.
How so?
Yeah,
I get how they help you manage your day-to-day spending,
right.
but how do they, like, tie into saving for a house?
Well, they help you track your spending so you can see where you can cut back, frees up more cash to put towards your down payment.
Right.
And they can also help you set specific savings goals and track your progress, which helps you stay motivated.
So it's about, like, setting a clear goal
Mm-hmm.
and then using the app to, like, stay on track and make sure you're hitting those milestones. Makes sense.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the power of actually writing down your goals.
Oh,
Yeah, like
yeah.
physically writing them down. People who do that are way more likely to actually achieve them.
Seriously. Just writing it down makes a difference.
It's weird, but yeah, it does. It's about like making it real,
Yeah.
having a plan. It also helps to break down those big goals into smaller steps, makes
Yeah.
it way less overwhelming.
That's a good point.
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's easy to get discouraged when you just focus on that huge end goal.
Right.
But if you break it down, it feels more manageable, more achievable.
Exactly. And, celebrate those small wins along the way. It'll help you stay motivated and build those positive habits.
It's like running a marathon.
Yeah.
You wouldn't just focus on the finish line, you'd celebrate every mile you finish.
Perfect analogy. Now, I know we've been talking about all the positive stuff,
Yeah.
but we should acknowledge that finances can be pretty stressful for a lot of people.
Big time. Financial anxiety is real.
It is. And it often comes from feeling like you're not in control.
Right.
But the funny thing is, these apps, which might seem intimidating at first, can actually help reduce that anxiety.
Really? I wouldn't have thought of them as stress relievers.
Well, think about it. When you have a clear picture of your income, your expenses, and your progress towards your goals, you start to feel more in control.
Yeah. It's like, taking all those financial worries and like untangling them and organizing them.
Exactly. And remember, it's okay to start small. You don't have to do everything at once.
Right.
Just pick one thing, like making a budget.
Or tracking your spending.
Yeah, just for a month. See how it feels.
Baby steps. I like it.
And then, as you get more comfortable, you can start taking on more.
Yeah, build up your confidence.
Exactly. And if you're feeling stuck, there are people who can help. Financial advisors, counselors, online communities, tons of support out there.
Don't be afraid to ask for help.
That's right. Now, another important thing to remember, you got to stay engaged with your finances, even once you've found a system that works for you.
I thought we were supposed to, like, set it and forget it, once we've automated our savings and stuff.
Not exactly. Automation is great, but your finances, they're always changing, right? Income goes up, expenses go down,
Right.
goals change. You got to be ready to adapt.
So it's not about finding the perfect app. It's about staying informed
And being flexible.
and being willing to make adjustments.
Got it. And that's where financial literacy comes back into play.
Yeah.
The more you know, the better decisions you'll make.
Continuous learning. Okay, so we've covered a lot of ground in this part. Apps, specific goals, managing financial anxiety. Anything else you want to add before we wrap things up?
Yeah, I think it's crucial to remember that technology, it's a tool. It's not a magic solution.
No.
You got to take action, make those decisions, and really take ownership of your financial future.
We can't just rely on apps to do everything for us.
Exactly. You got to be proactive, understand your situation, set those goals.
Use the tools to help you get there.
That's it. It's a partnership.
All right, so on that note, let's move on to our final segment where we'll discuss some specific steps you can take to start mastering your personal finances.
Sounds good. Stay tuned for part 3, where we'll wrap up our deep dive with some actionable advice.
All right, welcome back to the final part of our deep dive. I'm ready to get practical.
Me too. Let's do it.
We've talked about a ton of apps, strategies, all that good stuff. But what are some things our listeners can actually do, like today, to start taking control of their finances?
Okay, well, it's easy to get overwhelmed with all the information, right?
Totally.
But even the tiniest steps, over time, they make a difference.
So where do we even begin? Like, what's one piece of advice you'd give to someone who's feeling kind of lost with all this?
If I had to pick just one thing, it would be to start tracking your spending.
Okay.
Because you can't manage what you don't measure, right?
Such a simple idea, but it's so true. It's amazing how much money we waste on things we don't even realize,
Right. And there are so many ways to track it. You can use an app like Mint or YNAB. You could just use a spreadsheet,
Yeah.
a notebook and pen, whatever works for you. Just commit to it for like a month.
See where your money's going.
Exactly. You'll probably be surprised.
And then once you can start like cutting back in certain areas.
Yeah, even small things like brown bagging your lunch a couple times a week or canceling those subscriptions you never use.
Those little things can add up.
Big time. And then you can use that extra money for other stuff, like building an emergency fund.
Or even starting to invest.
Exactly.
Speaking of investing, that's something a lot of people are intimidated by. What advice would you give someone who wants to invest but has no idea where to start?
Well, first of all, learn the basics. There are tons of resources online.
Yeah, like Khan Academy and Coursera, those are great.
Exactly. And Don't be shy about asking questions. Talk to a financial advisor, get some guidance.
It's okay to ask for help.
It is. Once you have a basic understanding, then you can start looking into different options like robo-advisors, brokerage accounts.
Acorns, even.
Yeah, Acorns is a great way to start small. The key is to diversify. Don't put all your eggs in one basket.
Right. Spread the risk.
Exactly. And remember, investing is a marathon, not a sprint. Don't panic if the market goes down a bit.
Patience is key. Okay, so we've talked about tracking spending, building an emergency fund, getting started with investing. What other things can people do to, like, improve their financial well-being?
Oh, this is a big one. Negotiate. Don't be afraid to negotiate. Your salary, your rent, your cable bill, whatever.
I never thought about negotiating my cable bill, but yeah, why not?
You might be surprised at what you can get. And of course, always shop around for the best deals. Use those comparison websites.
Oh yeah, those are lifesavers, especially for insurance.
Yes. And, this might sound cheesy, but don't compare yourself to other people.
Oh, that's so hard, though.
I know, it's easy to get caught up in, like, the Joneses, right?
Yeah.
But everyone's financial journey is different. Focus on your own goals, your own priorities.
Create your own definition of success.
Exactly. And remember, it's never too late to start. No matter where you are on your financial journey, there's always room for improvement.
There's always something you can do.
Exactly. You got this.
Well, I think that's a great place to wrap things up. We've explored so much, from the nitty-gritty of budgeting to the kind of scary world of investing.
We have.
Hopefully our listeners are feeling a little more confident and empowered to take control of their finances.
That's the goal. Remember, personal finance is a journey, not a destination. There will be bumps along the way.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
But if you're willing to learn and adapt, you can achieve your financial goals.
And build a life you love.
Absolutely. That's what it's all about.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into personal finance and investment apps.
It was a pleasure being here.
We hope you learned something new, found some tools that might be helpful, and most importantly, feel inspired to take action. Until next time, stay curious, stay informed, and stay empowered.